As a teacher, what is the saddest thing you found out about one of your students? Sometime in the early 1990s I had the pleasure of having a young man in one of my classes who was pretty much the embodiment of the perfect student. He was a hard worker, had abundant self-motivation, and was both pleasant and respectful. Pick a superlative adjective and he could be so described. Like a lot of young teenage guys, he worked hard after school to scrape together enough money to buy his first car, and by the time he was a senior and had his driver's license he went out and bought a beauty. I can't remember the make or model, but I do remember that it was a full-size two-door, not a compact car, and had a V8 engine. This guy was really coming into his own and had everything going for him. From what I heard, he had a girlfriend in a neighboring town and clearly he was on top of the world. One Monday morning there was an early faculty meeting called by the principal in my building. These meetings were never called for good news and usually dealt with tragedies that might have building-wide impact. The young man that I have described was killed in a car accident over the weekend on Saturday night just before midnight. As a faculty we were asked to monitor our students for their reactions, and I was particularly concerned because this student had a younger brother in my class later in the day. The younger brother was absent that day and every day thereafter for about 2 weeks. As the week progressed, more and more of the full story came out. As it turned out, this fine young man had broken up with his girlfriend that Saturday night and on the way home took out his emotions by hitting the pedal to the metal, and as he was going around a corner lost control of that beautiful first car and slammed into a large oak tree. This corner and tree were on an unlit country road and the police estimated that his speed was in excess of 80 miles per hour. The police also had determined that he was neither drunk nor in any other way impaired other than being emotionally upset over breaking up with his girlfriend. The entire school community was crestfallen. Over the following weeks it became clear that the full effect of the tragedy was not limited to the young man who had died but additionally to his younger brother. The younger brother was, without exaggeration, devastated. His grades plummeted, but far worse, he fell deeper and deeper into a bottomless depression, unable to focus nor participate in school. He loved and admired his older brother so much that his loss was more than he could handle. His level of devastation drove him to become a serious addict and eventually a dealer. Even years after the tragedy I would read of the younger brother getting repeatedly arrested and jailed for dealing. In many ways two fine young men were lost that dark Saturday night. Several years later another former student of mine was killed after smashing into that same damned oak tree. For years there were ad hoc memorials on two opposing sides of that tree. When my own daughters were of age to learn how to drive I brought them to that tree and told them of the tragedies. I think they got the message.